Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahil hamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahil hamd. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, alhamdulillah, 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 adada khalqihi wa rida nafsihi, wa zinatul arshihi wa midada kalimatihi, wa muntaha ilmihi wa jami'a ma sha'a wa khalaqa wa dara wa bara, alim al-ghayb wa shahadatu rahman ar-rahim, al-malik al-qudus, العزيز الحكيم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. أما بعد، فيقول الله تعالى في سورة الروم: ومن آياته خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم إن في ذلك لآيات للعالمين. صدق الله العظيم. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us with a completed Ramadan. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us to complete the Quran, the reading of our Quran. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the standing at night during the Ramadan, the Taraweeh. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even in this adversity by keeping us sheltered or in the house and social distancing and all of these other things. It has made many of us draw closer to our families. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything that He has given us. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost, most above anything, for ad-Deen al-Islam, the religion of al-Islam, the way of life of al-Islam. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. Alhamdulillah, on this day of Eid, I'm not going to keep you too long. I just want to remind you of a point that a lot of us miss. And I think if we get this point, it will solve a lot of our problems. And the point is that differences don't mean disunity. Uniformity does not mean unity. Disunity does not equal, differences do not equal disunity. Nor does uniformity equal unity. If we come away from this clip by understanding that, then I feel like I've done my job. Allah has given me tough. You know, during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we know from Hadith that there were 124,000 Sahaba, companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And a beautiful thing about them, as the Prophet ﷺ had informed us, that they are like stars. You follow any which one of them, you'll be guided. I'm reminded of Umar ibn al-Khattab, one of the most famous, well-known of the Sahaba, companions of the Prophet. You know, when he made hijrah, when he made migration from Mecca to Medina, he didn't make that migration like a lot of other people. A lot of people, even the Prophet ﷺ himself, had to sneak out. Umar ibn al-Khattab, he announced that he was leaving. And he went to the hangout in Mecca, another one. And he went to all the big shots. It was like they were sitting around in a gathering, and he said something like, "May Allah destroy your noses." And he didn't even use the word nose. That thing that you breathe with. May Allah destroy it. And he did it to each one of them. That may not make sense to y'all. That's not, you know. Imagine nowadays, people looking for you and your crew, your peoples, your gang, your team, your posse. Umar, in our modern day language, he went to where all the thugs, all the powerful politicians was at, and he went to their face like, "You a sucker, you don't want none of this work, and you a coward. I'm about to go to Medina, and if any one of y'all family, wives, mothers, want to do a funeral for y'all, meet me in this valley over here, because y'all don't want none of that work." That's basically what he did. And he threatened them. That's Umar. It's a well-known story. It's in all the books of Sirah. Obviously, no one followed it, because that's the way he was. How he was known. If I back up a little bit to when he took Shahada, about 8 years before that, the Muslims were being persecuted. The ones that didn't have no tribal alliances were being, you know about Bilal, the hot rock on his chest, the boulder on his chest, in the middle of the Arabian desert. You know about Ammar bin Yasser watching his mother and his father killed. You know about all of these people. Umar took Shahada in that same time period. And when he took Shahada, a lot of people misread what happened after he took Shahada. They think he went out there like, you know, I'm Muslim now. Who want to fight? His thinking was, no, the Muslims are being tortured and persecuted. I'm a Muslim now, so I want to get tortured and persecuted like them. And so he went out, and you know the story, he finally got jumped. They jumped on him, but they got up off him because he kept gorging their eyes out. But he wanted to be in the same boat with the rest of the Muslims. Now fast forward, he makes hijrah to Medina, the way we just described. Suhaib al-Rumi, another of the companions, he sneaks out. The Quraysh catch up to him in the desert. Suhaib al-Rumi, Suhaib the Roman, he's not from there, but he came to Mecca early on and managed to be a good business person, got rich, got a lot of money. So when they caught up to him and they was at some distance from him, it was like, you know, we got you. You might as well come back. How you going to leave? You know, we treated you good. You came to Mecca. We didn't know pressure. You did anything. You got business. You got rich. Now you talking about leaving? Suhaib al-Rumi said, you know me well. Yes, I made money, I got paid, but you also know that I'm nice with this arrow, this bow and arrow. And y'all may rush me, y'all may outnumber me, but I'm going to get a whole lot of y'all before y'all get me. He said, but it don't even have to be like that. I tell you where I hid my wealth at in Mecca, and if you agree to let me go about my business, y'all can have it. They agreed to that. He told them where his wealth was, and he went to Medina. His nickname, his kunya, was Abu Yahya. When he reached Medina, the Prophet ﷺ told him, Rabbi Hatijarati Ya Aba Yahya. That business deal that you made in the desert was a profitable business deal. You gave up. Allah told him about it. He knew about it before he got there. Why did I tell you these two stories about these two different companions that made hijrah from Mecca to Medina? When Suhaib al-Rumi got to Medina, Umar ibn al-Khattab didn't say, yo man, you a sucker, man. Why you give up all your money? She did what I did. I told them to their face how it was. He didn't do that. He made it there how he could. See, a lot of times we miss a lot of obvious things. All of the different Sahaba, the Muhajirun that made hijrah from Mecca to Medina, all of them have their own unique story. Did that make them enemies because they chose a different way to make the hijrah? No. They made the hijrah. See, we have to get out of the mindset that because we're not doing something the exact same way, that means that we're divided. That's a proof that we're disunited. That's not Islam. That's fascism. When I was young going to school, we learned about people like Hitler in Germany, Mussolini in Italy. Said these are fascist people. You didn't have the right to think what you wanted to think, how you wanted to think. Everything was uniform. If you're not with us, you're against us. And that's the way a lot of us think now. Not just Muslims, this way a lot of us think now. You know, in Mecca, after a battle, the Battle of the Ditch, the Battle of the Khandaq, also known as the Battle of the Ahzab, the Battle of the Confederates, Allah revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, so now you have to fight Bani Qurayza, because they stabbed you in the back. They broke the covenant. They was providing aid and assistance to those people who tried to invade and attack Medina. So the Prophet ﷺ gathered his companions around, and he made this statement that you can find in many of the Hadith collections like Sahih Bukhari. He said, "La yusalliyana ahadukum al-asra illa fi Bani Qurayza." Do not pray Salatul Asra until you reach Bani Qurayza. The companions who were in his presence heard that. And so they went to go fight and engage Bani Qurayza in battle. When he said this, Asra was in. By the time they was getting close to Bani Qurayza, Asra was about to go out. The companions stopped And they said, whoa, it's time to pray. They disagreed with how they should understand the command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One group took that statement, none of you should pray Asr till you reach Bani Qurayza. One of them took it literally. He said what he meant what he said, he didn't stutter. The other group said, no, he meant it to encourage us to hurry up. They disagreed. What do real Muslims do when they disagree with one another? They do like Allah says, فَرُودُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. They refer it back to Allah and His Messenger. So each side began quoting Quran from Allah and Hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to support their position. They never resolved the issue. They remained divided. One group stayed and prayed Asr on time. The other group went, fought Bani Qurayza, missed the Asr prayer, and had to make it up until later. After everything was over and said and done, and they got back into Medina, and the Prophet ﷺ was informed about what took place, he said, all of y'all were right. He said, all of you were right. The scholars quote this incident to show us that there's no problem. It's not inherently evil, bad, or sinful to have differences, as long as there's room for these differences in the Quran and the Sunnah. This is the evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah and the Sirah that they use to highlight this point. Just to show you the age that we live in, a modern scholar, relatively contemporary, he's dead now, but he lived during all of our lifetime. For 1,400 years, scholars have been using what I just mentioned to prove or to substantiate the hadith that has weakness in it, but is sound in its principle, that differences of opinion in this ummah is a mercy. Scholars have been using this, what I just summarized to you all. A modern contemporary scholar said, after saying and even quoting the Prophet ﷺ and saying that both of you are right, this scholar turned around and said, but that group was more right than the other group. Why do we mention this? To illustrate to us that differences do not equal disunity, nor does uniformity equal unity. When the Sahaba got back to Medina, did they start hating each other because half of them started praying Asr, and the other half missed Asr? Did they hold that grudge against each other? They didn't. Think about that while we pause. Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahil hamd. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa afdalu salatu wa atammu tasneem ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wa radiyallahu ta'ala an asatidati tabi'in وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين والطالبين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Differences do not equal disunity, nor does uniformity equal unity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Rum, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. From among His signs, from among Allah's signs, are the creation of the heavens and the earth. وَاخْتِلَافُ, and the differences. أَلْسِنَاتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ, the differences in your languages, your tongues, and the differences in your colors. The fact that Allah created us different is a sign of His. Can you imagine if we was all the exact same color? Imagine we was all the exact same. We just all look alike. We all spoke the same language even. Allah didn't do that though. Even if you look at identical twins long enough, you know the difference between the two. I'm thinking of some twins that grew up in this mansion that you all know. I know the difference between them. Easy. And I know them for less time than you all. Someone that speaks English from Pittsburgh don't speak English like someone from Texas. Same language. In our differences is a sign. Some things aren't meant to be carbon copies one of another. Somebody tricked us into thinking that if we're not carbon copies one of another, then that's a proof that something's wrong here. We differ with one another. You know, now, people say that we're divided because we begin Ramadan on different days, we end Ramadan on different days, we do Eid on different days. That's not why we divided. It's not. What's my proof? We've been doing Ramadan and Eid on different days since the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Islam was only in the Arabian Peninsula, they were doing Ramadan and Eid on different days. Were they disunited? No. So they were doing Eid on different days then, and they weren't disunited. And we're doing Eid on different days now, but we're divided. That should tell you that something else is the cause of the division. Part of the cause is that someone had lied to us and told us that being carbon copies, that being streamlined, that being uniform is equal to unity. And the source of that misinformation is not in the Muslim Ummah. It's outside of the Muslim Ummah. It's been injected into the Muslim Ummah. We have to peep game. We have to know when someone's running game on us. What makes us unified or divided is the hearts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Hashr, Surah 59, He's describing the relationship between the munafiqun, the hypocrites, and Bani Nadir. They was working together against the Muslim. Hypocrites supposed to be Muslim. They were working together Logistically, they were all united. They had all their ducks in order. And Allah revealed the whole surah about that alliance. And one of the things that Allah taught us about that alliance, He says, "Tahsabuhum jami'an." You think that they're united. Because they look like they're organized. It's a well-oiled machine. They coming in, they got the, each kuffar, they got it all lined up. They got the pretend Muslims that's in the Muslim Ummah praying with us. They got them working against us. And they got the external kuffar against us. Everything's working. So you think, man, what are we going to do? They got numbers too. Tahsabuhum jami'an. You think they're united. But their hearts are divided. And because their hearts were divided, their unity was broken and they didn't even harm the Muslims. And when the Prophet ﷺ told Bani Nadir to get out of Dodge, they got out. And the help that was promised to them by the hypocrites never came. Why? Because their hearts were divided. You want to know why we're divided? It has nothing to do with the Eid or Ramadan. Or whether, because now it's election season, whether you vote Democrat or Republican, or whether you don't vote at all. That's not the issue. COVID-19, when you wear a mask or you don't, we should say 3 feet apart, 6 feet, no, 13 feet. It's airborne. It's not airborne. That's not the issue. The issue is the hearts. Because if you really love someone, you respect the fact they don't have the same information you work with, and even if they have the same information, they came to a different conclusion than you. Differences don't mean you disunited, just mean you're different. That's why whenever someone says anything, hey man, listen, we're going to drive to the next neighborhood. Make a right at this corner. Oh man, I'm getting tired of you, man. Why we gotta make a right? How come we can't go my way sometime? Right? Right or left? Is this something that you got something in your heart? So, brothers and sisters, don't get caught up in the game. It don't have nothing to do with when you did Eid, when you didn't do Eid. I got other communities and friends and imams that I love. Some of them did Eid on Saturday, some did it yesterday, and some doing it today. And guess what? No hard feelings. There's brothers who prayed with us all Ramadan. Most of them did Eid yesterday. We're going to say, well, you can't come in no more. Because you prayed your Eid yesterday. You were trading. No, man. So differences do not make us disunited. It doesn't equal disunity. Differences, in most cases, are a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like our different skin colors and our different languages, and even within the same language, different accents and different, all of that. Different heights. Doesn't mean we disunited. This means we're different. We all think different. Take two children, born in the same house, the same parents, same experiences. They still two different people. They ain't gonna think the same way. Don't mean they disunited. And if we all did the same thing at the exact same time, the exact same way, that don't mean we united. And most of us know it's usually the one who was with us all the time doing what we was doing, when we was doing it, how we was doing it. It usually was that one that ended up stabbing us in the back in the first place. That's not unity. Y'all was doing the same thing at the same time. Y'all committed the same crime at the same time. He got caught, he sticks. That's not unity. May Allah open our eyes. May Allah show us the truth as truth and have us follow. May Allah show us falsehood as falsehood and bless us to stay away from it.